Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae, also known as Wildbow. You can read Worm in its original format by visiting parahumans.wordpress.com or donate to Wildbow's Patreon at patreon.com/wildbow. This story isn't intended for young or sensitive readers. Readers who are on the lookout for trigger warnings are advised to give Worm a pass. For a complete list, check the description for all of Worm's trigger warnings.
Good morning, Brockton Bay. The news tonight, Q tag, you to death.
Literally.
Okay.
More details at 11.
To get monetized, we're not supposed to swear this soon, but
You can bleep it out, Michael. That's even, honestly, it's even funniher when you bleep it.
What a little squeaker toy sound.
make a squeaker toy.
Little
Make it, no. Wow.
Oh my god! What the fuck? I was not prepared!
That was
Who
good.
did that?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Nick.
You had that one in the bank. You were ready.
I was like, it's my time. I haven't even said anything yet.
Jump scare. Wow.
Oh my god.
Terrifying.
That was a good way to start.
Oh my god.
What I
Wow.
was going to suggest
That was
was we
amazing.
put bug noises over it.
Oh, like crickets?
Oh, I was going to say just a swarm of buzzing, maybe some cicadas or something. Whatever clogged his lungs.
Yeah.
I realize Alexandria, but I'm going to believe that he also got choked out.
Probably.
Gagged, you might say.
I'm gagged at
kids are
reading
saying.
his gagging.
Mm.
No
Mhm.
glaze, but this was a pretty good arc.
He was just way too chalant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, fucking no aura.
No aura.
No?
Jacob, help. Help.
It was not locked in.
Honestly, I'm enjoying
in the
listening,
chat.
letting it go. Hell's in the chat.
Hell's in the
for old
chat.
Pag. All right, let's welcome everybody. Thanks, Michael, for cueing me. We are at Arc 22 of Worm. We've come together to read
Sound like a
this beautiful arc.
pastor.
Turn
Welcome
in your
to the
books
church of
to
Welcome
chapter
to the Church of
22.
Wildbow.
I mean, at this point, we
Arc
basically
22, verse
Chapter
1.
1.
are.
And lo, it was the hell in the cell. The Royal Rumble.
From the top rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel like
Alexandria
we
thought she was
had.
coming from the top rope.
She
And
does.
hit him with the reversal.
Yeah.
The old Uno no you.
What's that called? I'm not a huge wrestling nerd. I've watched occasionally.
Mhm.
What's the reverse? Is it just called a reverse?
I think it's called heel turn. They grab them by the heel and they spin them around.
No, that's not what a heel turn is.
No. I'm pretty sure. I've been watching the WWF nowadays, and let me tell you, those pandas are flipping each other over and doing some wild shit.
WWF?
I'll tell you right now, I grew up watching the WWF, and even after they had their weird changeover, I've kept watching the WWF.
Oh.
There was Hulk Hogan, and now there's Spanky the Panda. I don't know what happened. I don't know who got in charge of their promotion, but I'm still enjoying
Spanky
it.
the Panda.
This might be
Feel
our
like
most
Alan was-
off-topic intro we've
This
had
is
in a minute.
this is
So
I know
great.
where we're heading.
And if you want to
Anyway.
hear more off-topic rambles, consider joining our Patreon. We've got a bunch of fun stuff
Ooh.
over there. We've got some fun little fuck, marry, kills and some behind the scenes and maybe some Weaver dice rolls. I don't know. Maybe you should check that out.
Maybe there's just some that are just bullshit for an hour and a half. Who knows?
Yeah, that too.
I mean,
A lot more of this.
Essentially.
We're here to have fun.
Yeah.
And we do have lots.
You know who
Lots of
hates fun?
Director Tag?
For Director Tag McBink. I fuck him.
Wait, what?
I feel
Sorry,
like we've had the past two arcs have been good, but they've been slow and like building towards this moment. And now that we're here, it's like hard to contain ourselves. It's like this is one of I mean, this is just such a huge moment. It's crazy. Not gonna.
It is one of the moments of Worm. Like when you think about Worm, there's for me, it's the Leviathan fight. It's the mannequin
No spoilers.
hunting
No
Colin.
spoilers up to this point. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm building up what we've gone through.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. Keeping me accountable. It's mannequin, hunting Colin.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to think of what happened. It's a shooting coil.
Yeah. Yep.
That was pretty
big
good.
moment.
And this.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I'm like, oh wow, this is, you think like this is pretty bad, and then you see the aftermath, and you're like, whoa, I got to go back and read 2 chapters ago, or whatever was going on. Like, did she really? No freaking way. And man, there's not like in terms of big moments, like there's other stuff that goes down, but this is basically it for me. We have run out of my top moments of Worm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Got
the
a
ones
piece
that
here
just
for you.
like
Yeah,
the
jeez.
ones that stick with me, that
I know what you
really
mean.
just are standalone. They are rent free.
Yeah, that's fair. I've got like 2 more big ones, but no, this one's definitely one of the ones you're like, I kept waiting for it to happen, thinking I was like, oh yeah, this is about to happen. I'm like, no, not yet. And then she finally got into prison. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, here it comes.
This
There
is
we
the shit.
go.
Yeah.
This is what we're here
This
for.
Oh
is
yeah,
the shit.
those are the sins I died for.
Oh yeah, that's that shit.
No, I mean, this is one of the arcs that comes up all the time in discussions and posts and things. Like, this is one of the moments that a lot of readers keep coming back to. It's such a huge moment for Taylor. And I mean, the story is in total, but Taylor specifically. We've been beating around the bush. Let's get into it.
Let's
You
do
got
it.
some chapter summaries, Hannah. Do you have want to start us off?
I have them. I think the best way is to just go chapter by chapter.
Mhm.
So chapter 1, Taylor gets taken into a cell that's pretty stark and listens in on the rest of the PRT building through her bugs. Dinah shows up, refuses to play ball with Tag. We're so proud of her. Love that. And Taylor finally sits down with them and reveals the time limit of sunset. That sunset is this, catalyst moment that she's agreed upon with Tattletale.
Mm-hmm. Dinah's great.
Oh,
Love
bless
Dinah.
her. I'm so proud of her. I feel like she's been like she's been treated so badly up until this point. Like, she's had no one to stand up for her. She's not been able to stand up for herself. And here she like walks in. She's just like, fuck you. I do what I want, and I'll give information to the highest bidder. Like, I work for me, and my parents are my managers. So like, get fucked. And I love it so much. It brings me such joy.
Yeah. I remember the first time reading this, being very pissed off at Dinah. And this time around, I really do feel, like you said, her coming into her own, being like, my rates, and also I'll still give you a wrong answer.
Yeah,
Like,
fuck you.
Because fuck you. That's why, Tag. And then she's like, here's a freebie, 22% chance you fucking die, and it takes a while.
Ooh.
Like, you can have that one for free, and fucking put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I fucking forgot that she said that. To be perfectly honest, I forgot that she said that.
Yeah.
How old is
Holy
she again?
shit.
She's what, 12? I think.
I think it's supposed to be
14
now.
maybe by this point.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, no, Nick, you forgot. It's only been 2 weeks. So
Oh my
Right.
God.
Lord have mercy.
It's really only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
well, it's we are
Jesus
in
Christ. This girl is fresh
second
Even in the-
month. We're not even
Yeah.
at 3 months yet, I think.
It was something like in the last arc, I remember Taylor
She's 12.
saying something like
She is 12.
okay, but I remember Taylor
right.
saying something to the effect of these past 3 months have been crazy or something like that, or like the past less than 3, however much it's been.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that realization of like, yeah, this story has not stopped once it started, huh?
No,
Like, it's just
it does
just
not.
going.
Yeah. Phew.
But yeah, this is a good chapter. I don't want to overlook either the psychological torment that they try to put her through.
Absolutely.
The just the various methods with which they're trying to mentally break her. Kidwin, them realizing like, what if she has learned how to see and hear? We got to get Kidwin on this. He starts making these little drones to kill the bugs eventually. But even just the like slow psychological torture, being forced to wash in a tiny little basin, all these things just, it's rough. It's rough. And it's one of those things where, I don't know, I've, thinking about prison and prisoners and what do criminals deserve? What do people deserve, in prison? Just anything like that is always a really tough conversation. So kind of an interesting perspective seeing it from the villain and being like, oh, but she doesn't deserve that. And we're like, well, maybe she does. I don't know.
Yeah.
According to them,
I mean,
for sure,
right off the bat, we have the whole like when they were, they're surrounded her and they've got, the guns trained on her and everything, but they're not going up to her and doing anything, even though she's turning herself in and she's like on the ground, like kneeling down, trying to like get arrested basically. And they're unsure what to do because they don't want to approach her because she's a villain, even though she's turning herself in. And it reminded me of like how force is used on people with guns versus without guns, where like you are more likely to get attacked openly if you don't have a gun. But if you have a gun, law enforcement is more likely to be like, whoa, let's talk about this.
You're right.
It's like, let's come to a peaceful option, like as opposed to if you don't have a gun, then it's like, oh, well, shooting is an option.
That is interesting.
Because they don't want to provoke force. And in this case, like they're not sure if she doesn't have the, if she isn't going to attack them for some reason.
Yeah.
And when they finally like
power dynamic.
Yeah. I just thought of that when they wouldn't even touch her at first. And then Clock Blocker and Miss Militia show up, and I love them.
Yep. We do like them.
Clock Blocker's little like different position. God, and another time.
I know.
Would have said phrasing.
He said it, and I was like, "Oh, he's so." I feel like we would be such good friends. And then, like, he shuts that down so fast. It's like, "Oh, come on." He's just being funny.
He's such a Clock Blocker's like grown beyond his name now. Do you think he's like, well, I can't really change it, so I guess we're stuck with this.
He can't undo that. Like we've even seen, like he's trying to be serious, but like it's still coming to mind. Like that was his first instinct, was to be like phrasing,
Yeah.
Reminds me of the time I once asked a good Bible college girl what job she would be taking after college. And so I was like, oh, what missionary position will you be taking? And she didn't get it at all because she just went right on explaining which missionary position she would be taking. Because why would, that be weird if you're going to be a missionary?
That's true. I just want to touch because we praise Wildbow a lot for the way he writes powers. I think we all agree that's one of his strong suits with Worm. And specifically, the way Wildbow writes any type of precognition is just brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a couple characters at this point that have it to some degree, right? The Simurf, Dinah, a couple others that have, Tattletale a bit kind of esque, but not really. But just the language that he uses to help the reader get into the mind of someone with that type of ability to see the future is just so good. Like, it's incredible how well we can follow Dinah's train of thought and like understand what she's seeing, which is such a bizarre like familiarity to have with a character. It's like I think about this all the time when I'm like reading Lord of the Rings or something like that, and you read about how, this elf is 3,000 years old, and you're like, cool, I have no idea what that feels like, right? You just can't. It's impossible. Mortality. But I understand what Dinah's saying. Like, I get what she's doing and what she's coming from. Like, she is meticulously planning everything she's saying because she already knows what she's going to get out of it. Like, it's so good. It was such a great moment.
Yeah. I just love her confidence. That's the other thing. It's like, I feel like when we've seen her before, she's hopped up on drugs. She's like so not mentally there. And like, so it feels like we haven't really gotten to see her power. It feels like we've almost seen her power distilled because it's like, she's always wanting candy. Her head's always aching. She's spitting out numbers, but like, it's almost like she's not even 100% aware of what they all mean or how they connect. And then like here, she feels like she's in control of them better. Like, she knows the numbers. She sees what's happening. She's connecting the dots. And then she is purposefully saying no and purposefully like denying Tag the information. I love that. It's so good.
Any other thoughts on chapter 1?
Oh my gosh, boy, do I. Let's see. Director Tag smoking right next to a no smoking sign.
Yeah, get fucked.
It goes to show once again, people like him, it isn't about law and order. It really is just about power for them. Like, it is about like, I don't want you to break the rules because that would be compromising the thing that I'm saying I believe in, but also I want to be able to break the rules.
I want to be at the top. Like, like I want to be able to have control over which rules apply to me and which don't.
Exactly. So like, it's one of the reasons I don't like Tag and don't believe him when he gives any of his speeches about like trying to make the world better.
Yeah.
He's not. He is just doing it to be in control. Like, I mean, in that kind of regard, like he is doing most of the same reason that most villains are villains. Like, I want to do this because I like feeling powerful. Bada bing. Hey, Director Tag.
Yeah, you're just as bad as the villains at this point. But
yeah, got a big oof full cavity search. That's another one.
I wanted to bring that up. I was about to say, Nick mentioned this earlier, and I was thinking, and then I didn't say it. So, Michael, you could probably move this around if you wanted to later. But yeah, no, the full cavity search, and then the like, hey, yeah, you're gonna need to like crawl freaking hands and knees under this like spigot and wash yourself off, and I'm gonna stand here and watch you do it. Like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, for just reading it, just like, oh man, like this.
It reminds me of. Oh, go for it. Sorry.
Like Nick said earlier, with like it's meant to break you down. Like, it's meant to humiliate you on purpose in order to like break your spirit and like see how you'll react and almost like push for a reaction. And it makes me wonder like how often they get people who come in here and like say no and just like freak out, refuse to cooperate, get absolutely zapped to hell and back, and then get like coated in containment foam. And it's just like the game that they're playing of chicken, of like waiting to see like how is Taylor gonna respond in this instance. And I like that her thought process is she thinks about Lung. She imagines Lung in this situation of like how he would have had to stoop underneath the shower head, like to try and rinse off or whatever. It's like, it would have been even worse for him. And that she doesn't think about it in the sense of like, oh my gosh, this is so humiliating. I can't believe I have. She's immediately like, well, could be worse. Like, oh, Taylor.
Yeah, I do love that when times of trouble come up, who does she look to for inspiration but Bakura and
the
Lum?
villains.
Like,
I love that. Well, it just shows
specifically
that she
those
respects
two I find
them.
as really weird.
Like, well, it shows that there's a certain level of respect. Like, she doesn't like them, and she obviously did not want them to stay in Brockton Bay in any capacity. But like, there's a certain element of respect and like recognizing that, like, well, they were supervillains in Brockton Bay for a reason. They weren't just there because, you know, they were shitty. Like, no, they held parts of the city and commanded huge swaths of people. And not only that, they were, as the later interlude talks about, is like the element of fear. It's like, why do people fear you? And I think that that's part of it, is like, because Taylor has so much been introspective about her own role as a villain. Like, what do I need to emulate as a villain? In that same way, like, she might not like them, but I think there's an element of respect.
Oh, and you always remember your first.
Yeah.
I was going to make the
True.
same joke.
That too. It's a formulative time in young Skitter's life.
Yes.
Young Skitter's career.
You take on your first bad dragon.
Yep. You never forget your first bad dragon.
You really don't.
I love that.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Bad Dragon. Bad Dragon, go fuck yourself.
We are accepting sponsors.
Yeah,
Oh
for
my
real.
gosh.
Especially if it's Bad Dragon.
Especially if it's Bad Dragon. Shit.
MeUndies. MeUndies. Wear yourself out. MeUndies.
We gotta move on.
That's this dragon's civilian identity. And everyone's like, you're not fooling anyone. I know who you are.
It's just dragon on her robot face draws angry eyes, and she's like, "Now I'm the bad dragon."
Yeah.
Oh no.
She has no idea what it means. She's like, yeah, I'm the bad dragon. And they're like, you really shouldn't call yourself that. She's like, no,
it's like,
I am.
trust me. Don't.
Is angry dragon better? It's like, let's just stick with dragon.
But I do enjoy how for almost all of this, we are getting what is essentially multiple, like we would in other chapters where multiple points of view are coming through. We're having multiple conversations with different people, but it's all centered because of Taylor's omniscience with the bugs.
Yes. Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like we're getting this all from Taylor's perspective. This feels like we are jumping, group to group, like an interlude or something.
Yeah. Very much so.
So I really enjoy it for that. My favorite one is when she runs into the room. I forget who is the out of towner that joins them, but he's like, "Hey, wards, does this have anything to do with what happened before?" And they all go, "It's classified," at the same time. And he just goes, "Fuck you guys."
I love that so much. That's like little element of camaraderie of like the in group of like the Brockton Bay people. Like, we know and you don't. Ha ha ha. Like, I really love that.
Let's see. Good on Dinah for charging. You got to make that money.
You got to make that money.
Which, if we remember I forget what the piece of legislature that technically prevents her from making money off of this really like legally, I believe, but because they need her so badly and she's a minor, like I feel like they're trying to not get on her bad side. Like the PRT is so desperate from everything else that they're not prosecuting her for making money off of her power.
She's also a pretty high level precog as far as precogs
a very high level precog.
So, like you really can't you really can't like afford to cripple that power. Like we kind of need it. So like we're gonna break the rules in order to use it.
Yeah, and her
we just don't want to
flexing
pay
like,
for it.
Ask my dad; he'll let you know my rates. you know,
I love it, and they go up. They go up and they change every day.
But also
like,
that means that she is on good terms with her family, I assume.
Yeah.
And they have accepted her.
I do like that.
Not
Brings me
just
joy.
as their daughter again,
But as
but
a
as a
parahuman.
parahuman, because
Yeah.
that's what she was afraid of, that they didn't want a parahuman, and that's why they were going to reject her. And on both those accounts, she's doing pretty well. So I'm very happy for Dinah.
Yes.
Now I'm ready to go to chapter 2.
One last thing. I love that they recognize like the connection that Miss Militia makes when they realize that like Taylor's listening in is the reaction from the bugs where she's like, guys, like look out the fucking window, and they like look outside and all the bugs have like
There's
swarmed.
a swarm. Yeah.
I love it so much. There's a certain like I love the play on the whole fear thing with Taylor that she tries to use. And like the bugs are already scary enough, but this idea that like to look out the window and suddenly realize that there's like a giant monster right there or like a giant entity is like the same vibe as a huge swarm of bugs just right outside the window. Like, oh fuck, like god damn it. And I love it. I love it so much. I'm upset that we all know now because it's a little bit harder to you know to eavesdrop, but like still it's such a good little reveal there. And I mean, we couldn't make it easy. Like Taylor couldn't just eavesdrop the entire arc. Like we had to make it a little hard for her. But
yeah, right.
but I love that. It's pretty great.
All right, let's move on.
All right, chapter 2. Taylor calls in her lawyer, Mr. Callie?
Calais.
Calais? Oh, like
Calais.
Kaye. He's
Kaye.
Kaye? Okay.
Yippee?
Yes.
Yeah. First
Mr.
name.
I actually
Kaye.
did Google that because I was curious. I was like, how do
Okay,
you say
good.
that name?
Excellent. Yes, no. Taylor calls in her lawyer, Mr. Kaye, who writes out a list of their demands, gets everything organized, paperwork wise, and presents that. And we get a little information. Taylor finally learns that the Slaughterhouse 9 has gone into hibernation. So that, just new things we learn every single day that make us just a little bit more worried. But she hands out her demands to Tag and Miss Militia.
Those are, don't get me wrong, I love every bit of this. But those are like 50% unreasonable demands from what I remember.
So her demands are leave the Undersiders the fuck alone. Don't go after them. What else? No. Oh, yeah, that's right. Tag has to step down. Miss Militia has to step up into his place. The PRT gets a whole revamp, basically. And what else?
They get full amnesty for crimes.
Well, yeah, that was part of the leave the Undersiders alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it's really just like leave the Undersiders alone and like hire a new director.
Okay, so if that was the case, if it was just hire a new director, like I could understand, like, hey, I'm calling for his step down, like
somebody else, yeah. But she's specifically asking for Miss Militia, right?
Yeah, which I think if you said keep her as interim director for the time being, which is like the ultimate thing they come into, but
yeah,
like
that's what they
this villain is essentially coming in, surrendering, and then going like, all right.
Now you shall work under my rules.
Yeah, now you shall follow my rules, and my rules say that I get to keep my parts of the city. You don't attack us, and
then we appoint the leader that I've picked.
Yeah, kinda. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand, and I get that she even knows that this is a long shot. But like, yeah, kind of like, what did you think was going to happen? At best, I think you get one of those. Like, you get, hey, stay off the Undersiders for a bit. Like, I'm thinking of other plea deals that people could make, have made before in the past. And you could be like, yeah, like maybe you get immunity if you rat on everybody. Or maybe you get protective custody for other people. Or maybe you like get an unofficial, like, hey, you'll stay off their back for a little bit while this gets sorted out, and they'll also not cause trouble for a little bit. But you don't get all of those.
Yeah, that's a lot of things all at once. I'm kind of surprised. Like the audacity of Taylor, like on a regular basis, but also like, is it because she just thinks that it's gonna work out? Like, is that what it is? That like Taylor just assumes that everything will work out in her favor? Is that where the confidence comes from? Because honestly, I don't know where the confidence comes from.
I think part of it does have to do with like the confidence of like this is gonna work out somehow because Dinah said so. Like, I think she has a vibe for Dinah's predictions being that she is going to see the end of the world, and that she has the opportunity to lower that percentage by doing certain things, and that she's just kind of in accordance with that. So like things might go wrong, but like they aren't going to go so wrong that the world ends now.
Right.
So with that sort of that level of confidence, you can make extrapolations for yourself that aren't entirely logical, but
I mean, I think she even says as much where if it's this chapter or the next one where they kind of throw out, oh, well, maybe you take a plea and you do a couple years in juvie. And she's like, well, that would suck, but maybe that's where Dinah wants me. Like she's definitely playing and she's trying to sort of figure out what Dinah wants to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because, I mean, she came to them. She surrendered when she didn't have to. So I think maybe, too, part of it is her just thinking, well, I have all the power here. Like, I came in and I've warned them about the time limit. And so they need to listen to me or else things are going to go bad. But I think it's very clear that she doesn't understand exactly the kind of situation she's in. And that only becomes more clear in the future as things get worse with her negotiations. But I don't know. It does feel very naive. I'm with you guys on that for her to think like, oh, you can just come in and demand what you want. And especially from Tag, who kind of hates you and has it out for you. Yeah, it's a bit naive, Taylor, to assume this is just going to go well
what
for
the fuck,
you.
Taylor?
Yeah, exactly.
It is kind of crazy though, because in Taylor's defense, she stabbed Leviathan in melee range and survived.
Yeah.
She took over the city, routed out every major villain gang in the city, and killed the largest villain leader personally. She rules the city. Then she survives and chops Echidna in half.
Mm-hmm.
And is still ruling the city. Like she has. What could they do? Like, what could they from her perspective, right? Like,
right.
What are they gonna do to me? Like, you can't touch this.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, she's got got a little bit of that.
A little bit of cockiness.
Yeah,
in there.
Deserved.
Which I'm here for. I'm here for.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's sometimes like really easy to because it is always like the big fights are usually like pretty big collaborative deals. Like it's sometimes like easy to forget and lose sight of the fact that like Taylor has been, like you said, Taylor has been a huge force behind a lot of these fights, and like why we did well is because of Taylor. Like the Echidna fight for one, like that's just crazy. And she's done so much in the city. When you look at her area specifically as like the thriving part of the city, is like where the docks are and like the boardwalk, like that whole area is like doing the best because of her.
And it's clear that she has the support of at least some amount of the population because of what just happened at the school. Right. And so it's clear that it's not just like, oh, she's a villain and everybody's scared of her. It's like, no, people legitimately like Taylor and want her to stick around and keep them safe. So
she's the embodiment of everyone who's upset with the PRT post Leviathan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who feels like they were betrayed by the heroes or like let down by the heroes. Like, well, if the whole idea of like, well, actions speak louder than words. Like Taylor, if we're gonna judge people by their actions, Taylor's doing real well in terms of public opinion.
It does kind of feel like it almost kind of comedically does sort of read like Taylor going, I'm motherfucking Skitter here. What are you gonna do? Send Alexandria?
We'll get to that.
The BRT calls her bluff. Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh gosh. Shall we go on to chapter 3?
Yeah. Let's.
I'm sorry. I do have one thing actually about the lawyer. I love him so much.
Oh yeah,
he is so cool. I love how cool as a cucumber he is. He's he knows exactly what's going on. He's got all the paperwork. He shows up. He's like, oh yeah, you want me to bring you a sandwich? You want some tea? And she's like, yeah, dog, bring me some tea. He's like, I got you. Let me bring. What you want? Tuna on rye? I got you.
I'm assuming
I
that
love that whole interaction so much.
His agency feels like it's a big supervillain agency that gets paid pretty. They get paid pretty well because it's not just it's a private attorney that they have hired, and it's specifically for supervillains. I bet they are making bank.
Bank.
Yeah. So and it's a flex to be show up with donuts and stuff for your client.
Yeah.
For her to be on the phone and be like, could I have tea actually, please? Also, I will have a breakfast sandwich. Hold the mayo. Tag's got to sit there and fume.
It's such
and eat stale bagels.
Power move. Yeah, fuck him and his stale bagels.
Yeah, he's like, I'm about to go out and yell at the first intern, PRT intern. I'm gonna tell them to give me a breakfast sandwich. That's what he's thinking that whole time. I can't find it right now, but I'm sure Wildbow said as much somewhere.
Right, of course.
I definitely remember reading that for sure.
In the tag interlude.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The tag interlude is just like a 4-year-old.
Screaming.
No, I was gonna say it's a 4-year-old imitating, any of their older siblings. That's how I would have written the tag interlude personally. Real work of literature. It would start with him getting up in the morning and not being able to put both arms through the correct holes in his shirt. His wife has to help him, and it's still a struggle for the both of them to figure it out. And they realize he's put it on backwards. She's like, never mind, the jacket will be easier. And it covers up the fact that his shirt is inside out.
He's just a mess.
But yeah, Mr. Calais is really cool. I really love the description that he's got a scar and a burn on his face.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
he looks like a supervillain
lawyer.
It. He's not just a supervillain lawyer. He looks like a supervillain that is a lawyer, which is unfortunate. He's like, I'm not your trial lawyer. We've done polls. I do not do well because I look like a villain representing a villain, and you do not
well
want
in front of juries.
Yeah, juries are not happy to see me. I think that guy is evil. Which one? I don't know. The one that looks like a bad guy.
The one with the scar on his face?
Yeah. The one with the Thunderbolt scar and the eye patch and the hook for a hand. I'm pretty sure that's the evil dude. Just going off of everything about him.
That's just
Master. What are you speaking German?
I've seen The Lion King. Men with scars.
Yeah. But yeah, and he keeps saying this. He says this a couple times, but the lawyer keeps saying, I've handled worse.
Yeah.
I know this is going to surprise you, but this is not the worst thing I've handled.
Even after everything. He's like, no, it's all good.
Everything. Hey, buddy, where are you? He's like, I am at you know how we had to clear a 5-block radius because of you? Yeah. I am exactly 5 blocks away at a donut shop. Do you need me there?
What can I bring you?
Yeah. My man.
I love him.
It does make you wonder. So I've had this idea for a bit, right? You know how, Alan, you said you like the mundane stuff, kind of. What would it be like? I'm imagining a novel, right? It's just a novel about Miss Yamada and Mr. Kaye, and You know what I want to throw in there is like an insurance agent. Is like
Oh yes.
like just your average people
like
who
a
are not
government
parahumans.
property.
Yeah, like a government property guy or like an insurance guy or an appraiser or something, right? Some guy who deals with like property destruction. And I just want a novel about the three of them.
Yes.
And like how they
just living their lives.
You know, it's like a Friday night dinner. They're all happen to be friends and they just get together and be like, all right, what'd you do this week?
Oh, I
you won't believe that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
It's great.
Any books that are like you think that you're following the main character of the story and you realize like no, you're following like the person to like 3 steps to the left and you realize like, oh, this is about that guy. Yeah, no. I would dig that. Shall I go on?
Yeah. Let's keep moving.
Okay. All right. Chapter 3. Tag is a bitch. Calls in Danny in order to fuck Taylor up a little bit. Tattletale sets the final wheels in motion to make the portal hers. Very exciting. And then Alexandria flies in to throw a wrench in the discussion.
Down.
I love that as we're going around, Vista. We talk about like Vista's in the room and she's like, "Are you responsible for this?" And Taylor has no idea what she's talking about. And she's like, "Flechette," and Taylor still is like,
that's right,
"Okay,
yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I didn't realize it was going to happen." Yeah. And then Vista leaves and is like, points at Tag and is like, "You're responsible for this." Like I know that she's just wildly pointing fingers, but I love that Tag being responsible for this is an option in her mind.
Yeah.
Like, this is because of you, motherfucker.
Oh,
like,
real quick. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to miss something. One of her demands that we missed, which is important, is she wanted to join the Slaughterhouse 9 hunting team with Dragon and Defiant.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most acceptable option, honest to God. You could be like, man, what are you really good at that we could concede to? I don't know, putting you with the other guy that we already like criminally rehabilitated and the person who's in charge of the forever jail. Like
the forever jail.
Yeah, and what are you good at? I don't know. Taking out the most supervillains.
Yep.
And they count and they do not give her enough credit when they're going down the list. Like, I get that she did not personally take out people, but we forget
got
like
damn close.
Like she got damn close to whooping Mannequin's ass almost every time.
Yeah. She did real good.
She, you know, coordinated the fucking death squad that wiped out that took like 2 of them out of commission that they captured, later killed one of them, took control of the other, and then I think, she got killed later as well. Shatterbird. I think.
It's Vista mentions at some point that she killed Shatterbird. In this arc.
So they
which way to go, Vista.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Taylor's track record and Echidna, let's not forget Echidna being a big one. Like Taylor's track record for killing monsters and basically not single-handedly defeating them like as a group for the Undersiders, but like Taylor has coordinated the defeat of the Slaughterhouse 9 in that city, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, given enough time, I feel like she would have kicked their ass 6 ways to Sunday. And you're not going to use her for that? Like, or give her credit for that?
Like it seems like a pride thing. Like he's just mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mad.
Well, the funny thing about this condition, though, to me is that what this shows is that she's either gotten over what happened with Armsmaster enough or believes that she could get to that point to where she thinks she could work with Armsmaster and Dragon so closely. Like I think that kind of shows that she could tell he was genuine at the school.
At the school,
right? Like, it shows that she realizes he's had some growth. And that comes up more in the next arc. I read a little bit ahead, but no spoilers. But what's interesting about this is we know now the Slaughterhouse-9 has gone into hibernation, but it's a weird way. So they attacked this base of Tinkers, which is just great. It's basically like
So
Burning Man for
cool.
Tinkers, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so what they did is they probably got some portal technology and are just like somewhere between universes, basically,
Mhm.
is what it
Just
sounds
hopping
like.
around.
And that's horrifying.
It is
So, you know.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
are literally untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that one does kind of throw a wrench in Taylor's plans because she was like, who's the worst bad guys? The Slaughterhouse-9. I'll tell them I'll take them out. You can't take them out, Taylor. Oh, shit.
Oh
My
no.
plans.
Well, it's like when you see the spider, you're like, oh god, it's a spider, and then you like grab your shoe and you turn back around, and the spider's gone, and that's worse. All of a sudden, everything is worse. There's nothing. There are no boots big enough now for the missing spider. We just have to burn the whole fucking house down. Like that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Losing to Slaughterhouse-9. Like we knew where they always were because there's a rampage following along behind them, like burning cities in their wake. But now they're gone. And there is no can of Raid big enough to deal with.
Anyway, let's talk about Danny.
My boy.
Even Tag had to bring in Daddy to do the work for him.
Yeah, for real. Oh, gosh.
All I can think of is Danny coming in here, given the situation. Danny's wife, I forgot what her name is, but Taylor's mom, died in a car accident that she caused while texting and driving.
Allegedly.
So, like,
allegedly.
You know what? Allegedly. But, like, that is kind of I understand that there's anger in this family, and I get that, like, it's an accident in which a big tragedy has happened to the person you love the most, and it was also their fault. Like, that's gotta be some sort of really hard to resolve. Like, it's not like they got killed in a car accident that was completely avoidable. Like, they were the cause of the incident.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's already a you love that person, but you resent them from taking them away from you and getting themselves killed. And like, there's a bunch going on there.
Yeah.
And that leaves him with their only child, Taylor, who is now arrested for being a supervillain, a thing that she could have prevented by not being a fucking supervillain. And like, this is a thing that is avoidable, that she, like, if I was him, I'd be all sorts of like confused, angry right now. Also, thank you, Michael. Annette Rose Herbert, Taylor's mom, the texting while driving
Ebert.
Campaign poster child for why you don't do that.
Yeah.
Bad
life decisions, Annette.
Yeah, but like, she died in an accident she caused, and now Taylor is about to go to prison for things that she has done that were like, both of these situations were avoidable, and he's coming in with that. Like, that's what I'm feeling for him. Like, that's the stage that's set. And when he gets there, he's like, man, the situation is dire.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem that angry.
No.
He seems
takes
just
it.
confused.
He takes it all very well. I like all of his response. Like he doesn't like get all like, even when he is faced with some things that Tag kind of throws at him and that he didn't know about, and he like looks over at Taylor like, what? Like, what? You did that? Like, it's never like overly accusatory. It's always just kind of like looking to her to explain, because like, even in the end, he still trusts that maybe she has good reasons for the things that she's done, and that like maybe she can give him some closure, like some answers to the things that he's hearing. Like he never is like, you did what? Like, he never acts like that. All of it is like confusion and hurt and like trying to understand what's going on with all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does a good job, I think, handling the situation as best as any parent probably could.
It's pretty much a
and we have to
lose-lose
remember-
situation as a parent.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have to remember too that the last interaction they had was him finding out Taylor was a villain and her, kind of brushing past him with the butterfly, and that's the last thing that they've interacted, if you can even call it that. I mean, before that, again, his whole life has gotten turned upside down from that day at the school, when he probably was thinking, I'm just now getting my daughter back. I'm so glad. And then everything happens at the school. And then to find out she's been arrested, you get a call from the PRT. You don't know what's going on. And, and then they're running him through the charges without Taylor there. So he's just hearing third hand all these things that she's done. Maybe. Yeah. And I think he holds up
Allegedly.
remarkably well, in all things considered.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, I don't agree with what she's done. I don't even like it. But right now, just judging off of the situation I am seeing as it is, I don't like you, Mr. Tag. And there are a bunch of people out there that I've seen recently that do believe in her. Like, they have faith in her when mine is faltering. And you know what? Like, that kind of bolsters me.
Yeah.
It reminds me that my daughter's decisions are not just her being some crazy wild child, that, she's some lunatic loner making irrational decisions that don't resonate with people. Like, there's a lot of people that follow her that, are on her side. And you know what? I'll be one of those.
Great answer, Danny. Great answer.
God, I love Danny.
We stand, Dan.
Yep.
We stand Dan.
We stand Dan.
And Dan stands on business.
That's right. And I'm proud to be a Danican.
Oh my.
Perfect.
And Danny proudly stands up.
Next to you.
He is the perfect American.
He's
my hero.
He's all of our heroes.
Number one on the field, number one in your
One in
heart.
your heart. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, come to find out, Charlotte's still out there hanging out, helping out the Undersiders.
Charlotte.
No, not Charlotte. She's been around. Is it Sierra?
Sierra.
I get them confused. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love
One of them.
Sierra. She's amazing.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Sierra, her arc has been she needed her brother rescued, but then when she got back, she wasn't comfortable with the whole villain thing.
That's a lot.
Like, it's a lot. Not the person we thought was going to give up on the villain henchman lifestyle.
That's true.
We thought we definitely felt like it was going to be, yeah. But it was Sierra, and so like her arc is she goes from that to I don't know what she's doing, but now she is standing on business, big business.
Amen.
Big business.
True.
I love that.
She is a business lady apparently, because now she owns some
everything.
property.
All that shit.
Yeah.
She is the face of Tattletale's operation. Legal operation, I guess.
I do just want to jump to, I know it's in an interlude later, but I do want to jump to when she shows up later. Just looking all professional. Just being all like adult professional person. And I know she wasn't that young before. I think
and her hair is still in dreads.
Yeah, no, never forget that she, I was going to say she was in dreadlocks and probably like some new age looking.
Dreads and a nice pencil skirt. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a look I can get behind.
There's a lot of looks I can get behind, and we'll get to the others in a second.
But But yeah, so that's kind of Taylor's attempt to twist the arm of the PRT.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to work that well, but she tries. She tries, and
He
that's what
does
matters.
try.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I get this, oh wow, you own the property to a portal. Do you know how easy it would be for the United States government to be like,
just like, nah.
that is a world shattering thing you have there, and we are not about to let that be private property. And you know what? I hard agree with them. No private individual
For
should
this
be
one
owning
time and one time only, I agree with the U.S. government.
It is one of those. It's like, it's a nice property you got there. Would be a shame if somebody eminent domained it.
Is that oil? I see.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, especially since Tattletale's also spent so much money to like buy up all this property, and then like they own a lot of it, and then it would be so easy to just be like, no.
Yeah, and honest to God, they like. I get the feeling that they do not intend for that to be a permanent thing. I think that they
It's
get
a bargaining
that this
chip.
is just it's a bargaining chip and
Yeah.
one that can be easily overruled, but
Yeah,
is
it's
a
not
big
meant
enough
to be
stage that it's going to be a conversation piece and an
Right.
issue that people are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, especially since later on in the later arc, we do hear that like people have been promised a share of the neighborhood that they've been working so hard to fix. And kind of the idea that like, sure, Tattletale may own certain parts of the land, but like the people are invested into the city because they've been working so hard to fix it. And if you were to suddenly just swoop in and take that away from them, like they would be fucking pissed. It's not just taking it away from Tattletale or Sierra in this case, since she's the official face, but you'd be taking it away from all of the residents that stayed in Brockton Bay and that worked their asses off to try and make the city habitable again. Like it would be a bigger deal than just, private property, we're going to take that. Like, no. At this point, this almost belongs to everybody at this point.
Yeah.
Which is face and the name for it.
Yeah, which is, I think, like you said, they're also talking about like, yeah, we're planning on putting people on the other side. Like, clearly they're not going to keep this shut down and, just, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's fun. It's fun though. It's a fun, nice little move, Taylor. You
I
tried
love
one.
The moves.
You tried one, and then the oh shit moment.
Yeah,
but then they try one. You do a thing, and then they do a thing, and
it's chess. Everyone's moving pieces.
Yeah, except
some pieces
you're moving pawns and the occasional Springer, as they call it in German. The occasional knight. You're bopping around doing a little tricksy L move, and then they just whip out the queen.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit.
Yeah.
It's what in
Alexandria
German?
shows up.
What is this?
What an arrival.
In German, the knight is called a Springer.
Mm.
And the pawns are called
like
boobs.
A Rumspringer?
Called what?
The pawns are called boobs.
I like
it. I don't think that's true, but I don't know German.
Somebody check it. Somebody fact check that shit.
You know what? It is
Michael?
Always going to be true now.
I mean, they do kind of have a boob-like shape.
Yeah. Well, isn't it more like the boobs? Like, it's such a boob.
Boob, like Alan.
It's round.
Well, Alan, not boob as in breast. I thought boob as in like
it's this.
It's a nipple.
Like you're a booby, like a.
I'm looking
like
up
it's like an old English term, for like a dummy
Barn.
Right?
Which means farmer.
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
There's not even a booby at the end.
A boob, a stupid, awkward person. It's just me.
Were you looking up the definition of boob?
The definition of boob?
Yeah.
We're not talking. We're talking about. He said pawn in German is boob.
Yeah, I know, but then I said that it was.
Oh,
No, I see where she's going with it. I see where she's going with it.
I'm sorry. I missed something. I was too busy Googling.
Michael was too busy Googling boobs.
Yeah. All right.
Just Google image search German boobs. Alan, I'm not seeing any pawns in any of these images.
No, you're oh, Nick, it's because of oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
oh my god.
It was you got to look up. Okay. So there's a rule in chess. It's like somewhere after the 33rd rule. Look up chess rule 34 maybe.
Okay.
Oh.
All
right. Will do. Hannah actually did.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't actually paying any attention. I looked it up, and the fact that every pawn in chess has the ability to become a queen implies that all pawns are women. They're all boob.
You know what? I'd like to think in today's society, that's not always true, Hannah.
That's the word Ponzi scheme, right?
That's true. Ponzi.
Yep. Yes.
No.
That's where it comes from, right? The Germanic.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, somebody bring us back quick.
Oh my
Also,
god.
I like that we
where
went on
did I
that
get that from? If people want to know where I got that boob from, when I played chess with the German kids, that's what they all called the pawns.
I think they're just calling you that.
I think you might have just gotten scammed by some German kids.
I was about to say, I cannot find any confirmation on this, Alan.
Maybe.
I'm looking it up.
This is right up there with the house rule where my grandfather used to have a saying that I cannot find for essentially Queen's check. And it was Damen Kadeh. And I don't know how to spell that. I always thought it was like maybe German because Damen, like maybe like lady
Dom
in
made
danger.
That shit up.
But that I still think he made that, like you said, I think he made that up, and I cannot find that.
The only thing I can find to this is that the name for the chessman and what they connotate, blah, 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 is the pawn in German is Bauer, which is farmer or peasant. That's the best I got. Ben.
Just imagining all the kids, German kids going, we will tell him the pawns are called boobs.
It's a bunch of children in like lederhosen, like hanging out, like.
We will confuse the shit out of him.
That is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
So good.
Oh no! Oh boy. Okay.
I like that we got on this tangent. We got on this tangent right when things got tense, and I think we needed it.
Jesus.
I think we needed a little breather.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, because things get so serious now.
Oh,
so there we go. We got it all out.
Yes.
Oh man, bringing us back down.
Oh yeah. Before we, So I think it's in this in this chapter here, where. Because I know Al and I are both going to talk about this in chapter 4, but I think it's here in chapter 3 where Alexandria says, not a promise, not an oath, or a malediction or a curse. Which is, when I read it, because, Hannah has Wormentia, did not know what was about to happen, had no clue what was about to go down. And read that, and when I read that part that Alexandra says it was so like I feel like my whole heart seized up, like I just it brought me such like frustration, like it felt like a turning point, like it felt like such a big moment, and I don't know, like at the time I was like, I don't know why this feels so big, but like it feels like such a taunt. And like we can't let it go unanswered. Like we can't let it go unanswered. And it just, I mean, it didn't It didn't go unanswered.
Mm.
But just this is where Alexandria says it. And just wow.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Oof. I mean, the moment she walks in, first off, wood.
Ugh.
Second, like,
Did you say wood?
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
just
Wood.
from the outfit description, she shows up. Maybe, honestly, she gives strong Contessa vibes here. So maybe that's just the thing I'm getting is like, maybe I'm into women in like office attire. Like,
Yes.
no nonsense women in office
mean,
attire.
yeah.
That's what does it for me.
Aren't we
Like,
all?
she shows up, jacket comes off, rolled up sleeves. Like,
Yeah, it's hot as fuck.
like essentially, she's, if anybody's seen Chainsaw Man, she's Miss whatever the head of their department is. Like, the white shirt, black tie, here for business. And she rolls up her sleeves, is like, I'm about to kill a motherfucker if you don't fess. And and she's like, you got 5 minutes. And Taylor starts to talk, and she's like, you've got 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I gotta, I'll go and keep this schedule rolling. And then gives her promise. And who I forgot about that little malediction speech. And also strong the boys vibes. We were talking about this earlier before the podcast, but what makes, in my opinion, the boys show and comic to a lesser extent, but the boys show so good, what its strong suit was um, is every moment you are in a room as a normal person with a superhero, specifically Homelander, but others too, like, is the most terrifying thing in the world. Just him being there. He doesn't have to do anything. You don't have to really like, but what happens if he accidentally turns and knocks into you? You know, you
Yeah.
accidentally bump shoulders with him and he puts you out the window. Like, or breaks, spins you so fast your spine snaps because he just accidentally bumped shoulders with you.
Jeez.
Like, his strength and power levels are on a, like, what if he sneezes and accidentally, laser beams? Like, just, and worse, what if he wants to do something? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing anybody can do to stop it. So, like, the concept of being in a room with absolute power, and that's how, honest to God, everybody should feel when they're, like, in real life. That's how everybody would feel in rooms with people like Alexandria. Like, all it
Yeah.
would take is, you know, a flick of the wrist and you're dead. Like, she could do it on accident and you're done for. Um, and she shows up, and her being there is that presence. Kind of for the, I feel like for the first time in Worm that we really get that gravitas and danger of being in a room with somebody that powerful. And we should have felt it before, but we definitely feel it here. And holy cow, does it hit. Um, yeah. Whew.
Well, it
Yeah.
reminds me of, with speaking of the boys, I think one of the best scenes probably in the entire show of the boys is the scene where they've captured one of the superheroes, Translucent. They have him in the basement. In Homelander, who has
Oh.
superhuman hearing, superhuman strength, and all this stuff, right? Like, his senses are above human. He is above ground talking to two of the members of their group. Like, it's one of the most tense scenes in television I think I've ever seen. Because you've
Yeah.
seen what this guy can do and how strong he is and how much control it takes for him to not accidentally hurt people. And it's just immensely terrifying, right? And it's exactly that too with this scene where she comes in and even Taylor knows, like, oh, this is bad. Like, things have gone horribly wrong for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's spooky in a way. And yeah, with everything going on. And yeah, I mean, she comes in pretty hardcore.
Ugh.
I mean, she comes in essentially with the same goal as Tag and is yet such a, I don't know, it's such a different vibe. Like, she is going with the same goals as Tag, but she's not trying to posture, because how can she posture?
Yeah.
She can do everything she says she's going to do.
And more.
Yeah, and more. Like, anything Tag says is bluster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, I just want to read it. So she says, this is Taylor says, "You're planning to make threats?" I asked. "Threats is the wrong word," she said. "But English is a limited language in some ways. There's really no word to articulate what I mean. A threat with a measure of inevitability to it. A promise? Too feeble. People break promises too often. A curse? A malediction? Too magical. An oath? The connotations are wrong. When I say I'll do something, I make it happen." I didn't respond. Mr. Kaye did. "You seem rather confident." "Overconfident? I imagine I seem that way. It doesn't matter."
Oof. Damn. It's a little hot in here.
Yeah. Yoy.
Yeah, there's this dynamic to the triumvirate in general that we get glimpses of many times in Worm, but have not confronted yet, and it's really exciting as a reader. Like, you get a little bit of Legend, right? We get Legend's interlude, we get a little bit of Legend during Slaughterhouse 9, but he's really more of like general containment, really. You know, he's not involved in the same way, not as personal. And all we know about these characters is that these are the ones that go and fight the unfightable, the unkillable. That's all they do, is go fight Endbringers. Like, they fight Godzilla as their day job. And now here is the strongest one, arguably, right in front of you. Ugh,
and she's come to deal with you. Like, you've become such an issue that she's like, "Okay, we're done. I'm putting my foot down." And she shows up like, oh boy.
Are we ready to dive in? Chapter 4?
Let's fucking go. This is the big one. All right. Chapter 4. Alexandria goes after the Undersiders.
I mean, isn't this, I mean, we've already started, but I mean, isn't this where she says it's a curse? Like,
yes, I realize it's at the very beginning of 4, not in 3. I said that wrong earlier. But yes, no, this is where she says that, and then she goes after the Undersiders, and basically threatens to go after them to one every 30 minutes. I think one every 30 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that.
Is it every
one
3?
every 5? It's every 5 minutes, and then she goes 10 minutes to go get them.
Yes, that's right.
And back.
So
it's incredibly fast.
It's really fast, but she's picking them off one at a time. Taylor does her best to try and send a warning through Tag's phone by punching numbers in with her bugs. And then one at a time, we have Regent shows up with some broken limbs, an unconscious imp, and then a body bag. And when the body bag arrives, Taylor goes off. She suffocates Alexandria by forcing bugs into her lungs and attacks Tag before being knocked out at the end of the chapter.
My heart's still racing.
I literally am like teared up right now just reading that. Like, I was so afraid for a moment because I couldn't remember what happened. And to think that somebody was in that bag, like, and to think then how Taylor reacted, like, her reaction feels so justified in that moment. Like, it is so well done that it feels like, you know, and I mean, I cried reading it, but like the hot, angry tears of being like, I'm so sick of this. Like, I'm so done. And then Skitter goes off and it's like, yes, like that kind of that righteous anger. Like, let's bring the Old Testament plagues back. Like, that's how it felt. and it felt so good.
Yeah. She flips. She just starts piling them down Alexandria's throat.
Yeah.
She starts, has him go hog wild on Tag, who's like crawling after her. And she's like
he
standing
bangs her
in the
head
room.
into the table.
Yeah. I have it here, her, line back.
Yeah.
Not a promise, not an oath or a malediction or a curse. I said, sounding calm, probably inaudible in the midst of Tag screaming. Inevitable. Wasn't that how she put it? I told them, warned them. Ooh.
Oh, it hits so good. It hits so good. And yeah.
And man, I loved it. And I had the only chance to think of how they just signed Tag's death warrant. My power would still work while I was unconscious.
Yeah.
And I could have rescinded the orders in my last moments. I didn't.
Yeah.
The callback to that earlier moment in arc like 6 or 7 where that happens.
When she passes out and wakes up with all the bugs. Yeah. Oh, so good.
I mean, even the callback to when this was over from the moment you entered the room.
Yeah.
With Armsmaster.
Yeah.
And then she beats his ass on the balcony. This was over from the moment you entered the room.
Yeah.
Like flips it around on him again.
Yeah. And Alexandria too, by flying, because she leaves, so she's being attacked, and she flies up through the roof and like out into the out away from Taylor's circle
range.
of influence. Yeah, her range. And kind of in that same idea of like thinking that like, well, if I can stop her, then if I can get away from her, then the bugs will stop. But it's like, that's not how this works. And by once again, what's the word? What's the word? Not undervaluing.
Underestimating?
Underestimate. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
By once again underestimating Taylor and what she's capable of and what her power does and how it works. Once again, you have fucked yourself by thinking that she's just another kid. And by not taking her seriously, you're dead now. And like it's so good. It's so good. And I love that Taylor is so calm through it too. Like she's so calm.
Alexandria fucked around, and we have now entered the find out stages.
Find out. Also, this is our official what the fuck Taylor, but also in the best possible way.
Yeah, it's a combo what the fuck Taylor and a fuck yeah Taylor.
Yeah,
it's a
fuck yeah Taylor.
Yeah,
what the fuck yeah,
for sure. What the fuck yeah.
What the fuck yeah.
I don't want to underestimate too her clever usage of the powers to try to warn Tattletale that they're coming.
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Also,
and just her like tapping the buttons, trying to communicate. It's so like desperate though, right? It is that feeling of this inevitability, right? This inevitable force is coming for your friends. Every 5 minutes she goes out, then 10 minutes later she'll come back a little bit more disheveled, than before. But yeah, it's just so.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. She even takes the bugs and she puts them close to the light bulb so that they'll be warm. In the thought that like, if she needs to like press on a screen, like if it's like a touch screen, she's like, I gotta use.
Yeah.
The bugs have to be warm, so like I'll warm them by the light bulb. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, just getting into her thought process in this arc or this chapter in particular is one of the most interesting parts to me.
So
as she's,
correct me if I'm wrong, because I was getting very confused with the phone thing. But I know she attempted to get tags, but there are multiple times where doesn't he take phone calls and stuff? Like
on his cell phone. She's at his desk using his landline,
office.
basically.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was like sitting here
she
like
knocks the phone off the cradle.
And then she communicates by hitting the buttons to make like the button noises.
You're right.
Old style texting.
Yep.
Yep.
You're right.
But yeah,
I did
no, it's-
like you, Hannah. I kind of forgot what happened, and it took me a second. I was like, wait a second. I don't think any of the Undersiders die at this point. Like I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't think they died. Like maybe Regent and Imp got captured. That's surprising in itself that Imp got captured.
Oh yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
I was like,
That
but
annoyed me.
But then I was like, but wait, does somebody die? No. Like I'm like, something's weird. So I had a little bit of wormmentia, but yeah, got
Something's
distracted
hinky.
by the attack on Alexandria. And what a way to drown, right? Because it's essentially drowning.
Oh yes.
Like
It
the
really
fact that
is.
Taylor describes the bugs going into her lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
it's
rough.
It's horrid.
It's rough. Oh, yeah.
Horrendous.
I mean, everyone's gotten a little bit of everyone's gotten a little bit of water, choked on some water in the pool before or something. And it's like for that split second as you're coughing it out, it's terrifying. Like it's it's horrifying.
It's your fight or flight sets in and you can't think rationally. I just was reading this thing about how your brain works in a crisis, but like your brain basically freezes up and doesn't the normal processing thought of like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to take a breath. I need to, raise my arms above my head or whatever you need to do to get the water out of your lungs. Like, whatever it is, your brain doesn't think rationally. It basically shuts down into fight or flight, and that's it. And like, that's where that panic is of like, oh my God, it's the guy who drank the LaCroix in one sitting and he's like, what do I do? Like,
what do I do?
That's his fight or flight kicking in of basically like, I just need to burp. Like, that's all. But he doesn't know that because his brain is shutting down. Like, that's how your brain works. And it does it to protect you. Like, that's the reason. Because, usually you can just run away and you'll be fine. That's your monkey brain. But like, in this case, Alexandria, she bolts and that only seals her fate. And you cannot get out of this, bitch. You cannot get out of this. This is the end for you. We're donezo. Close the book. Love it.
In other words, teenage girl basically kills God. So
yeah. I love it. Kills Superman.
Yeah, teenage girl kills Superman.
Spider-Man kills Superman, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and if you think that crossover comic hasn't happened despite them being two entities, you would be wrong.
I know they're separate. I know that Spider-Man is Marvel and that Superman is DC. I do know that
would be correct.
Nailed it.
They still had a crossover fight.
How does that? You know what? That's a conversation for another time.
It was back when the people who made those comics were better friends.
Oh
well,
no, not really.
Maybe.
Actually.
But essentially they're in like a girder construction tower at one point, and there's kryptonite hanging in the construction tower. Spider-Man doesn't know this, but he's like beating the shit out of Superman, like, I'm getting good. And finally, like, accidentally something happens to kryptonite, and Superman just like grabs him and is like, listen here, punk. It's like, oh, when did you get so strong?
Except there is no kryptonite. It's just bugs, baby.
Yeah.
She says dragonflies too. She says Alexandria in the basement, still choking, drowning on dry land with lungs full of dragonflies, spiders, and cockroaches.
I mean, y'all are talking about choking on water. We've all choked on a bug before. Like, you open your mouth,
Jesus.
And then the bug just like comes in, and you're like, whoops, sorry. Just,
all been on the back of a motorcycle. And
now imagine that, but like 1,000 times more.
Usually it's like a tiny gnat too. It's like you get a little gnat in your mouth and you're like,
yeah, and that's bad enough. Imagine,
even just that like weird tickle at the back of the ear throat that you can't quite get to is like a terrible.
I literally just had a full body
I'm done
shiver.
for the day. I'm going home.
That's
one gnat acceptable.
Yeah, 3 gnats. I'm finding the fire escape and going up so I can throw myself off. I just can't live like that anymore.
Also, earlier, Jacob, you said like, oh, we've always all been in the pool and like choked on water. I was like, you mean like 10 minutes ago when I was trying to take a drink out of my water bottle and like almost died? Like, is that what you mean? Because like that's a regular occurrence for Hannah. Anyways, we can.
So 22.5.
Yeah, we got it.
22.5.
I
Let's keep
have
going.
no notes, so y'all keep talking. I'm getting water.
Okay. Don't choke.
Don't choke.
Maybe fish.
Yeah, don't drown while you're drinking your
Don't
water.
drown in the kitchen. Okay, yeah, no. Moving on to chapter 5 after that trauma. Taylor wakes up in an empty building, and as far as she can tell, an empty city as far as her range is concerned, because it just everything within the block radius is just gone, empty.
Yeah.
She breaks out of her cell, and gets caught by Dragon and Defiant while, trying to figure that stuff out, which is just, the little cat and mouse of that is just very fun.
If I had a nickel for every time that Taylor thought she could outsmart Dragon and Defiant, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird as happened twice, right?
Weird as happened twice. Well, she has outsmarted Dragon before with the drone thing.
That's true. I guess I mean escaping a building
mexes.
Particularly.
That's true. That's true. With Dragon and Defiant actively coming after her. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is, again, I really just enjoy her thought process. Talking about heating up the bugs and doing this, doing that. At some point, she has to do something with cockroaches, and she's like, I'm just not going to think about how gross they are. It's fine. And it's very interesting. And then, of course, she gets caught with Dragon and Defiant, and they're just like, we really need to talk. Like,
we've been trying to talk to you. Can you please stop wiggling? Like, we're trying to
like,
can you chill, please?
Listen, we're not going to kill you, please.
Please.
It's almost sunset. Things are about to go down. Your people are about to start an all-out war. Alexandria is dead. Tag is dead. Holy crap, please just chill. We need to chat.
we need to just talk, please. Yeah. Also, I love when she tries to throw them off the building.
Yeah. I think honestly,
so good.
Yeah. I think honestly, this is a bigger what the fuck Taylor moment than the previous one. Because that one, I feel like killing Alexandria, I'm like, I get that.
Totally
it's like,
warranted.
Okay, clearly at this point, like, what are you going to do, Taylor? Like, you're going to try to throw Defiant off the building? Like, come on. Like,
I mean, it's sort of
I'll
works.
do it again.
Kinda.
Yeah. It doesn't, though. He's just like,
I mean,
grappling hooks himself back up, and he's like, I'm fine. Why'd you do that?
Stop it. Jesus.
Child, please. We just want to talk.
Bitch, please. No, I really actually enjoyed that. Also, I love her little like spy moment of sneaking through the buildings. So she's like, bum, 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 bum.
She's singing the Kronk theme song to herself.
Yeah. So good. Oh my God. I love that. Yes. So good. Yeah.
It's a simple chapter though. There's not much to say.
Yes, there's not much to say about it. I like when she throws.
It feels like a bridge chapter.
It really is. I do like when she grabs the football drone thingy of the Tinker's little floaty thingy. What's
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, Kidwin's like a little bug zapper. Like she like grabs it and like stashes it under a trash can, puts like a TV monitor on top of it, like to hold it down. That was so funny. I enjoyed that immensely.
Yeah.
I just like her like trying to figure it. Yeah, get the fuck in there. Like oh, it's so great. Her little like up the stairs, down the stairs, take the elevator, get off at this floor, like trying to get away from them is so funny. I just love that. That was great. It's a little bit of like a chill before the, after the absolute chaos of the previous chapter. But yeah.
And then 22.6, you can read the summary, but she just absolutely masterminds everything now. And it's like, oh my God, how did you go from... Well, I'll let you do the summary and then I'll say that.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, that's okay. So, I mean, she finds out that her team is okay and that it was all a trap to set her off. She strikes a whole new deal, and they make a huge announcement on live TV. Skitter makes a statement and officially joins the wards as Weaver.
Ooh.
Damn.
Okay, so in this one arc, she goes from a prisoner who is the biggest crime lord in Brockton Bay to the killer of Alexandria, one of the triumvirate, the biggest hero who they need in the Inbringer fights to now joining the wards
and being a hero and being recognized as a hero and twisting the tale of Alexandria into being a fucking traitor and that she's the savior in all of this. Like,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, getting that to work was so clever.
So good.
Just kind of turning, because like from Taylor's perspective at this point, I don't think she knows fully, right? Like we know, the audio reader knows a little bit more about Cauldron than Taylor does, but she still knows that Cauldron's a thing, kind of manipulating stuff, and like uses that as like, hey, you've got an out here.
Yeah.
You can say like this, not to sell it to the people, because people don't know what Cauldron is, but to like sell it to the leadership here. Like you all realize that your whole system's fucked 10 ways to Sunday.
Royally fucked.
Yeah. So this is an easy sell for the other capes that kind of know things aren't going well. Like it was just such a great move. I remember rereading it caught me off guard here because I totally forgot that's how she spun it, and was like, oh, that was so brilliant. It was just a good play.
Yeah.
So good. And like it works.
Also, I love.
Yeah.
We were talking to them on the phone, like, hey, Undersiders, just want to let you know, killed Alexandria, and everybody you hear cheering in the background, except for one person who just goes like basically like fuck, and you're like, Gru.
Yeah. Yeah,
one guy who
isn't it Regent and Imp that are mostly just like, yeah, like let's go.
Yeah. I want to say, I in my head I don't remember if it's true, but I'm going to say that bitch was also like, yeah, fuck that bitch, and and Lisa's like, damn girl, get it, and meanwhile Gru's like, oh, we fucked up. Oh, they're gonna come after us so hard. Oh, they're gonna drop a bomb on our heads. They're gonna fucking firebomb us like they did the Slaughterhouse-9. God damn it.
Damn it, you guys.
Here we go again.
The one dude who's thinking practically this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will. Go ahead.
Jacob, please.
No, I was gonna say I did love during the newscast scene, that after the announcement is made, there is an uproar of barking and howling surrounding everything.
Howling. Okay. Oh my God.
Here's the thing though. So bitch doesn't control the dogs. She's just good at like training them and communicating them. So in my head canon, the dogs are sentient enough to understand what's going on and started barking and howling of their own volition outside of bitch's control. That's my headcanon.
I think I might instead, my headcanon would be bitch started howling like a sad dog.
Bitch howls, her dogs all howl, and she, wherever she is, we've talked about, doesn't she have like 200 dogs now?
She's a lot of dogs.
She got a little dog army. Yeah.
She got a few.
So all of you have that many dogs making noise. Every dog in that city is making noise. So I think it's just a cascading effect.
Yeah.
Much like, we found her secret power. It's sort of like a Shatterbird, except just with dogs.
Just affects all the dogs in the area.
That got really gross in my mind really quick as I'm just imagining Shatterbird dogs. Yeah, Shatterbird's power.
Okay.
The dog's
wearing like a dog dress.
You ever seen you ever had a dog that just started shaking suddenly? Just like that. But then,
just vibrating uncontrollably.
But yeah, no, I think that's the idea, is that like because she has like 200 dogs at her facility or wherever she's at, they all started howling, and it erupts with every other dog in the city howling too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I read it very similar to that, except more so of like they know her so well, they can read her body language. Like when we're in an altercation, even if she hasn't responded or told them what to do, like they start, their hair starts bristling, they start growling. And that same idea of like they're reading her body language and they're reading like what she is, and they can like feel the emotions coming off of her. And so then, one dog starts howling and then all of a sudden they're all howling. But like that, I cried when they all started howling. That was when I cried when everything happened. But this was where I was like, it really hit me. That one hurt.
Yeah, and if you're basically and when you do need me, you can call me Weaver. And that's when I reached up and touched my cheek and was like, am I crying right now? Wow. Did not expect that to be the moment that got me, but damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Also,
call me Weaver.
Yeah, you can call me Weaver. Thoughts on the new name?
I mean, she weaved that PR campaign to work in her favor,
really
so.
Did. Do we like it better than Skitter?
It's better than Skitter.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's better than Skitter.
I'm trying to come up off the top of my head a better name that hasn't already been taken.
Yeah. Bug.
No,
yeah, Bug.
Honestly, something like a Queen Bee or Queen or
Queen Bee is like too high school.
It's the high school girl too. High school. Web, like it's literally something maybe more abstract.
Madam Web,
Colony.
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
Don't get me started on that. But yeah, no, really something more like Skitter is very, even as a villain, is a much more direct action person, and I think with the final direct, kind of like killing off of some people, but like I think now that we've moved into a master phase, or not master, like a master thinker phase of heroing for Taylor, like where she doesn't whip out a baton anymore, she whips out her bugs, and actually that is her main weapon, and she actually sticks with like she doesn't go in and do it herself, she just sends in her bugs to do everything finally, like, and that be the end of it. So I think having the more hands-off approach with a more hands-off name, having something that is more abstract.
Isn't the one superhero parody from Rick and Morty 1 million ants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
just
1 million ants.
1
It's just
million
Taylor.
ants. Also another thing with the Weaver is she makes a comment in the previous chapter about how when she was out, another things that her bugs did unconsciously is they wove a bunch of cord for her. They like set up a bunch of and so I was thinking about that with Weaver, is that it feels like a lot more Spider-esque, and the idea of like setting traps and like weaving the story, the tangled web we weave, a very like
it's also, I mean, it's just more constructive.
Yeah, that too. But I think what you said, Alan, about the whole master thinker vibes, leaning more towards that than like, yes, she's the more, brute force bug villain. They're like, no, she's a mastermind here. And the idea of like leaning more into that, I like that a lot. So
yeah. I mean, I guess Weaver is the best I
like Weaver.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something like Legion sounding,
Ooh, love that idea. Oh my gosh.
I think we already said Swarm is already taken.
Yeah,
Swarm
Myriad
still sounds.
Is Myriad taken?
Myriad would be good.
Myriad is so close to
Murden.
Murden.
Thank you. It is.
Murden.
He's dead now, so.
Well, but still.
Free reign.
Anyhow.
Never forget.
This is something that I don't know if it was in I think it's at the very beginning of this chapter. When Mr. Kaye shows back up to help her like rewrite, he says, so they're working on, this is this chapter. Sorry, I'm looking it up right now. He says, I'll credit you this, Ms. Hebert, my lawyer said as he typed away. You manage a great deal of grief and chaos in very short spans of time. And that's something we've talked about before, of like the idea that everything happens so quickly that like even the wins don't feel like wins because there's always one thing after another, and Taylor doesn't ever get to really celebrate those wins. And I was thinking about that, like even here, like even after everything, we immediately go into something else. Then we immediately move into something else. Like we find she thinks that her people are dead. Her, basically the Undersiders, her family, someone's dead, and she goes off. She kills 2 more, and then she wakes up and it's like, oh no, JK, actually everyone's fine, but you did totally like gank Alexandria and fucking tag. And then also now you will be a hero. Like it's so much piled one on top of another, just quick, rapid fire. And I like that he points that out. I like that her lawyer notes that and is like, yeah, you deal with a lot. Like, yeah, she fucking does. Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
We love her.
We love her.
When moving into interludes?
The interludes.
Let's do it.
Well, real quick, what do we think of did we talk at all about the lie that they come up with that Alexandria, they basically confessed that Alexandria was a traitor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of blew past it, but yeah.
With Legend and Eidolon watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend can shut the fuck up. He knows.
Yeah.
Legend, he knows
cool
that he's a big fat liar too.
Yeah.
Like,
now, see, Legend, I'm fine with. Eidolon's the one who I'm like, hey, yeah, okay, you're not getting off of this either,
Yeah. Because it's Chevalier. Chevalier is the one that's with them, right?
I'm sorry, Chevalier.
Yeah, thank you.
Chevalier. Oh my god. Oh my lord. I cannot with you guys. Yeah.
But yes, he is there.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I always get Chevalier and Eidolon can like mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
And so I had for a moment, I was like, wait, let me just.
well,
Chevalier he's arms
Cool.
master, but cooler, right?
Yes. Yeah.
He's young, hip arms master.
Yeah.
And
Is it
Eidolon.
Cannon Blade.
That's right. And Eidolon
Jesus, I love it so much.
boring and old and sucks.
It sucks. Embrace the suck.
He is the dude you're like, oh, what's your favorite color? And he was like rainbow. I'm like, motherfucker, that's not.
Yeah, Eidolon
don't
is
fuck
like
yourself.
if your HR person at work became a superhero, and here's like, okay, here's my benefits package options. What do you guys want me to pick this time?
Yeah. Just, oh my god.
I want you to find the power that flies you away from this conversation as quickly as possible. Eidolon.
No, Legend. I'm still a fan of. I like Legend.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. Like, Legend knows he's a big liar, so like he's just gonna feel guilty about the thing. Like, oh, like I can't believe my friend died, but also like, what am I gonna say? Like, I ain't gonna say shit because I'm
not touching this with a
just as
10-foot pole.
bad.
Yeah.
Eidolon's like, I can't believe they do that shit. Oh, how dare they? But also, I don't want to get outed.
Oh yeah.
Never mind, I have to take power Viagra to keep it up.
Power Viagra. It's true. I'm just imagining the surprised Pikachu face is what Eidolon's doing. He's like, what? She was a traitor?
Yeah. It's like, have you seen the interview where the news is interviewing the one guy on the street about an illegal gambling ring in their neighborhood? And he's like, oh, what?
I didn't see nothing. In fact, I'm 70% blind in my right eye.
Oh, I forgot to keep my power of seeing shit up. Oh, I can't see shit no more.
Yeah.
Classic Eidolon.
All right, into the interludes.
Into the unknown. The interlude. So our first, we have 2 for this arc. The first one is a Charlotte interlude, which I really, really enjoyed this one.
Time for Char.
Charlotte sees the news, and the whole neighborhood is abuzz. Sends the kids to bed, And then Danny and the Undersiders show up. Preparations are made to defend Skitter's turf, and little Aiden dreamed of space.
Let's just kick this off. That shit piece of shit father, Scott, is still there.
He's still here.
He's
Fuck
still
him.
there, and
Why
he's still
is he here?
bitching.
He never stops.
Could leave.
He never
He could
stops
leave. He could go
bitching.
anywhere else, but he enjoys being here just so he can bitch.
I mean, we all know at least one person who's like that. Like, whose sole
And they're
purpose
all named
is
Scott.
to bitch for no
That's
fucking
the other
reason.
thing.
They're not all named Scott. Sure, some
Most
Some are named
Sure,
Alan.
some of them are named Alan.
Hey, get the fuck out of here. The Allens have a long and proud
Oh
history.
my god.
Oh my
Judgment.
gosh.
Judgment. Yeah, I love it.
No,
Oh,
we have a
God.
long and proud history of villainy and doing other things. It's not, we don't sit around and we bitch at, the good job and the fucking land we get to live on. Looking asses. God. Yeah, so he's there and he has a name and he's a piece of shit. Moving on. Let's see. So Danny, is there, and that's kind of creepy at first, but then you're like, oh, you're her dad. And he's like, yeah, I'm just, because he's this lanky motherfucker.
Yeah, he shows up,
looking-
especially on the heels
looking
of all the
awkward and out of
reporters.
place. Yeah. And so I love that Charlotte brings him in and then asks him if he drinks tea because that's what Taylor drinks, and she
Love
assumes
it
that
so much.
he would also maybe that she grew up in a tea drinking household.
A tea house. I love it.
I do love it.
Then bitch shows up and hands out
All the
therapy
puppies.
dogs. She
Therapy
brings
Puppy
therapy
therapy.
dogs.
Okay, I had to find it because I was prepping for this. This is my favorite line so far in the entire serial is right here. It's during the puppy therapy, and bitch hands a puppy to Danny. I'm gonna read it. You, bitch, asked Danny, no, thank you. You don't miss your daughter? Bitch asked, narrowing her eyes a little. I do. I mean, I think I'll see her soon, but then take it for now. He just takes the puppy. He's like absolutely dying.
I also that's such a good bit, and I just because she's so scary looking, but she's holding this tiny little puppy, and like you can't really say no to her, so you just kind of like take the puppy. It's like you don't miss your daughter.
Not only is she raising animals to like live in households now, but she's literally bringing them here as therapy dogs. Like she's not, they're not to keep, although they might end up keeping one. But like she's bringing them here just to get attention from the kids and to help the kids.
Yeah.
Because honest to God, that's what helped her. Like when she was a kid, and she's like, oh, I guess I should do the thing like, that helped me. And then they get to talking the politics that like Charlotte is falling asleep to. And Danny's just kind of like lost, but watching. And bitch is there trying to soak it all up.
Yeah.
So hard because she's like, this is what Taylor would have wanted.
Yeah.
Would to be in the middle of this. And I've got to step it up. And at the very least, be able to hold my own and figure out what's going on because she's not going to be there to coddle me anymore. And she did kind of have my back on this and help me with my stuff. So I got to kind of take over for what she was trying to teach me.
Yeah, it's so good. It like we've talked a lot about this with the dissecting worm thus far, like their relationship having grown over all of these arcs and all of these, seasons, whatever. This feels like such an excellent culmination of like bitch has no other choice but to like really learn from what she's take what she's learned from Taylor and then like be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. No, I do love that we can see Rachel's growth here as a character. It's just this is one of those arcs that feels just so nice in a way of like seeing all of these characters' growths. I don't know. Seeing Charlotte, seeing Forrest do his thing. It feels like a good moment for Danny as well. Maybe getting a little bit of closure.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to understand, because something we don't know is that to be on the wards, you have to have a guardian basically say, like, we approve of that.
Yeah.
So he's very much like, but what if, like, should I? Maybe she should just go to jail. Like, what's best for my daughter? Is it getting off with this and becoming... And he was in... Oh, I mean, even thinking about that, right? Like, he was in the room when she killed Alexandria.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that his whole thing
she
of
killed
like...
Tag.
She killed Tag.
Killed
Yeah,
Tag,
Alexandria
yeah.
wasn't in the room, but yeah.
Well, she flew... Yeah, that's right. She flew out. But when he saw that, him being like, what I saw then wasn't my daughter. It was a monster. And now I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. It's just so interesting. And Charlotte being just the best, as always.
Yeah.
Is great.
Just the best. Ugh. She's so good with the kids too. Like,
God.
and
Forrest
just Forrest. Yeah.
Power couple.
Oh my gosh.
Just calling it now.
I love the way that like Forrest talks to the kids too and like handles the kids, but like she does it so. And like so there's a section where she's talking about Kathy, I think the girl's name is. There's another girl who kind of like keeps an eye on the kids, and she's thinking about it, and she's talking about how like Kathy's a lot better at like immediately knowing what to do, the right thing to say, like when to offer a hug or like a soothing word or whatever. And for her, like she finds it a lot harder. And like I totally get that. Like I'm not natural with like little kids either, but like it's seeing that and being like, I'm gonna still choose to be here every day and like be with these kids and like help these kids and like help stand in Taylor's territory. And like she goes up to Taylor's old room that's now her room, and kind of this idea that like Taylor has created something here and then she has handed it off, and now it's like it's in a place where it's okay without her, that like we can all be better. And like Charlotte is at a place now where she wasn't before, and she's grown and the community's grown, and they all support each other in a way that they didn't before. And it's just so this whole freaking chapter just felt so good. Like shit.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It makes me afraid for what chaos may come. Because I don't know what happens
next. Like this whole up until now, and no. I'll say as a whole, this arc is what I want from Worm, front to back. You have the sort of mundane superheroing, but with the lawyering and the talking for a long time, combined with the action puzzle solving that goes on with her listening into the conversations and calling on the phone and stuff, and then ultimately the action of her attacking people in one of the biggest crescendo moments, just an absolute climax here, killing Alexandria and Tag, and then then we kind of have the cool down of she has the action sequence of her running away, figuring stuff out, alone in the PRT headquarters, to the conversation with Dragon and everything, and then back to the mundane of writing up legal stuff and doing a press conference. And then a fun interlude that's kind of an epilogue of showing all the fallout that's also very mundane, and all this, I would almost say a very happy, it's ambiguous, but it's somewhat happy. Like, hey, look, there's Danny. He's doing all right, but he's conflicted. There's Charlotte and the kids and Forrest, and they're doing all right, and it's really cool. And here's the Undersiders, and yay, like glad to see they're doing good. And what are the next steps they got to take? And what's this? Aiden, do you have powers? What's going on with you? Like, set up for the next generation. Like, this is the microcosm of Worm for me. like the best parts that I enjoy and what I would love to see Worm as in almost every chapter. Like there's breathing room on both sides for me, even though that, she's in prison and dealing with Tag. Like it's not a rush around the whole time. And I think this might be a top arc for me.
Yeah, same. This might probably oh yeah.
It's another one of those where like I think the only weak part in this for me is I don't like her running around in the empty PRT building. Like my brain just glosses over that because it's just
that
like,
was fun.
All right, just get to the roof. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're finally interacting again. It's just a lot of moving through environment. And I really don't care. But other than that, I am like engaged the whole time. I'm enjoying all the different segments. It's really good. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Aiden and his powers, not powers, who knows?
Yeah, his weird,
Mm-hmm.
his weird half power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. We don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
I'm very excited to find out more.
Hard to tell.
Any other thoughts?
Not on that one. I think I'm good there.
Yeah, we do have
Fuck
one
those
more.
reporters.
Yeah,
Always
good,
and
yeah,
forever.
Good thought.
Ugh.
They're the worst. One more interlude.
Don't worry, Forrest and the boys will go out there with some socks
Forrest will handle
and some
they'll-
D-cell
Yeah.
batteries, and they'll
I'm
give
just
them
gonna
the
sit there,
exclusive
baseball.
interview. You know what they're giving them a little 60 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna soak
Yeah.
the scabs is what they're gonna do. Anyways.
Mhm.
Okay, so final interlude of the arc is a long interlude. We get the history starting off as just a Japanese kid in a gang that invades a meeting. The woman in black, which I think is Contessa. I'm guessing is Contessa. Kicks
Mhm.
ass. Kenta, as
So much
he's-
ass.
so much ass. Basically kills almost everybody except for him without spilling a drop of blood. Kenta, as his name is, survives and has a trigger event, which I have a whole line of thought on that. Lung fights Leviathan. We kind of see a little bit more about his power there. Is capped by the Yangban, I think his house. Yangban. Recruits Bakuda and learns about more recent events while in the Birdcage present day. Okay.
Okay, real quick. I'm sorry. I'm
Yes,
sorry to
go
go
for it.
back real quick.
No, not
I
at
just
all.
remembered though. I don't take notes usually when I read. I'm sorry. It's just how I am.
I
I took
almost
exactly
never do either.
one note on this, and I wanted to share it. It's for 22X, the first interlude. One of the kids is like, Taylor was a good guy, and the other kid is like, I don't know, she's kind of a villain, and he's like, she bought us pizza.
Which,
And
as
you
we
too
said, is
You too
Yeah.
can buy us pizza, Patreons, if you would like to. No, it wasn't just a play for
it
that. But
makes you a pretty good guy.
That
Yeah.
does
listen, no
make you
matter
a good
what
guy.
else you've done, you could have killed God. But if you buy us a pizza, you're good in my
Awesome.
book.
Heck yeah.
Anyways,
Much like the
Okay.
PRT, we will look past a lot of shit as long as you get us a pizza.
Well, Alan will
kind of
look
true though.
the other way. I will maybe judge while eating my pizza.
Yeah. Ooh, we should get special pizzas for like each one of the Undersiders or something.
Oh,
Well, what would
That's a good idea.
what kind of pizza would the Undersiders order?
Whoa,
and
whoa,
that's
whoa,
a
whoa.
great
That's
a
great for
great
content. That is
Patreon
Patreon
episode.
exclusive. That's right.
Whoa! Don't waste that for
Oh,
the
God, that's
regular
a
viewers.
Free content for the normies? Absolutely not.
If this
Brockton
is
Bay
the
Book
kind
Club
of
on
content
Patreon.
you want to see, head
Yeah.
on over to our Patreon.
You want some mukbang pizza worm content?
Oh my god.
Boy, have we got some for you.
All
I'll be
right.
now eating the Regent.
Oh, okay. Anywho, back to the interlude. Okay.
Yeah. So Nick, I don't know if you caught this name thing, the
Mhm.
reference here. Okay. But our boy Kenta, who is not just Japanese, he's half Chinese, half
It's half
Japanese.
Yes.
Which, if you know anything about their history, that's a rough mix right
great.
there. Nothing good. Nothing good for that kid.
It's rough.
So prompted me to look up a Reddit post about this. So Nick, I know you know this. So hear me out.
Interesting.
There is a Japanese delinquent whose ability is to summon a ghost that's stronger than he is in order to fight. He's even 17 years old. What character am I talking about?
Japanese hang on. I got to think about this now. Oh, Lord.
Are you thinking like real life person, anime, manga?
It's an anime.
Got to be an anime character.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Let me think. Japanese. So anime character summons a ghost to fight for him that's stronger than he is. Oh, what is that?
Think about some really odd shows in which characters have to like bring out.
Did you just say some odd show?
Oh God, it's just a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, huh?
That is correct. It is just our boy Daichi is just Jotaro in part 3.
He's
Jotaro,
just Jotaro with a stand. Oh, that is funny. Yeah. I didn't think about that, but that is the perfect
prompted.
Comparison.
I was looking this up. I'm like, wow, this sounds familiar. So I prompted me to look up a Reddit post. So there is a post on Parahumans 2 years ago by user Video Dump. He asked, is Daichi from Lung's Interlude a JoJo reference? Great question. Always a legitimate question. There is one response to this post. It is from Wildbow.
Oh my God.
This is the only response in this post. And the answer is no.
Oh. You built all the way up to that.
Damn, Alan.
Incredibly.
Break all of our hearts.
It's so funny.
That is funny, though.
Death of the author, it's yes.
Yeah. Like many other things, I don't think he knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to choose.
Hey, no.
Jeez.
We just praised his name for 2 hours.
Marquis.
Marquis.
Fucking.
I mean, I think the bigger one is that we still say Eidolon, even though it is technically pronounced
Eidolon. Yeah,
Eidolon.
I get the Eidolon. No, it's Eidolon.
Oh my God.
Like Homer Simpson. Eidolon.
Exactly. Semicolon. There's your diss track right there, Michael. We were talking about for the patrons. We're looking for the diss track. I'm messing out here with an Eidolon. Worse than a semicolon.
Oh no!
I don't know where to put him when I'm rolling.
Michael, mute him.
No, I'm cooking.
Before he starts on the second verse.
Let him cook.
God damn.
Yeah, fun interlude. It was kind of this interlude. It's good. I do like it. It's so out of place. I know it's a donation interlude, so it was kind of It was written as a bonus for the readers at the time, but it is really funny getting to it after this just behemoth of an arc, and then
whoa, no spoilers.
And then just a leviathan of an arc, and then
there we go.
Back to let's go back and talk about that guy that we have forgotten about for the last 10 arcs.
Yeah,
it is maybe somewhat appropriate, only in the sense that we talked about how she was imagining what Lung would do in the situation. And so in the prison situation. So getting to see his trigger event was, I think, really neat.
Yes.
God, what a drug-induced trigger event.
Oh my gosh.
Just from getting your face shoved into a brick of cocaine.
Did he
we need to talk about this.
You know what? Honestly, worst ways you could trigger.
A hot dominatrix chokes you out into a pile of cocaine.
And as we've established, in a absolutely badass looking like suit outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. She curb stomps him into a brick of cocaine. I'm pretty sure is what happened.
I thought she was. Is that what happens? I thought she held him down with her hand.
Well, no, she holds him down with her foot.
Yeah,
on the back of his head. But
Yeah.
Oh, then
Yeah.
very step on me, mommy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Kinky.
I think
You
we're
sure
all
that's not what
triggering.
caused him to trigger? And he just also happened to be in a brick of cocaine?
Yeah, it's possible.
Bricked
Yeah,
up in a
I'm
brick, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, do I?
Jesus Christ.
But I love his fight with Leviathan too.
Great.
It's just such a cool scene to imagine. And he's like, I'm gonna keep getting stronger. I'm gonna keep getting stronger. And he's one of the few people who can say, I beat back, I beat off Leviathan.
Oh, he beat him off.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
He had to use both hands and the tail to do it, but he beat him off.
Dear God, why?
It
That
does
is not
say
an image I needed.
It
in
is
my
a super
head.
fun fight though. And then we get a little bit into the Yangban, the Chinese superhero team, right? Is that
Yeah.
who they are?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
There is no war and bossing say kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Get to see a little bit of how he recruited Bakura. It's just kind of a fun chapter.
It is. Yeah. It is.
It really
Oh
is.
my God. We got to talk about Teacher though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
God
Oh.
damn it.
Oh, okay.
Can I say one thing before we
wacky
move?
power. Go ahead though. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing before we move into Teacher? Because I do want to talk about Teacher, but I want to talk about just real quick about Lung's power. So multiple times he talks about. So we've talked before about how it's kind of like a you choose your power, but your power also chooses you, and you kind of affect each other both ways, kind of a thing. So he triggers while high on cocaine. Like he talks about the high as it hits him, and he's like basically like super high while triggering. Okay. But then later when he's talking about the when he's in the fight with Leviathan, he talks about how every time there's like the more of the dragon pops out, it's like he's like getting high again and like falling in this ever never-ending chasm that's just like, and like when I haven't ever done cocaine, but like I've been high before, and it was like I felt a little bit like that, where you're just kind of like very weightless and just falling forever. And the idea that like what if his trigger event is so tied to his power that he like every time he fights, his brain is like getting high again. Like every time he like dragons out, that's his brain like basically dosing itself to be high. Because like as he goes, he loses himself and like slips further and further into himself the more he like grows, until he can't necessarily like control it as much anymore. And like he recognizes that he's losing like his stamina in the fight with Leviathan, but there's like nothing he can really do about it now. And he's just going to keep fighting. And all he can think is like, I'm going to fucking win. I'm not going to back down. I'm just going to keep going. And he would have drowned if it weren't for the fact that Alexandria pulled him out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's what I was thinking about that. Like, cause the verbiage he uses when he talks about it, about fighting Leviathan, is very like similar to that when you're talking about being high.
Interesting. I like that a lot. No, I mean, I didn't read into that, but I really like that interpretation a lot.
I just like the idea that like the powers are so connected to us that like you can't really have a cookie cutter power that doesn't in some way shape and change because of who you are, but then also shape and change you.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, that's all I needed to say. We can talk about Teacher now, because Teacher is fucking
Wait. Hold on. Just real quick. Fuck you, Amy. Little bitch.
Gotta get it out there. Let's talk about Teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting powers. I was looking up on the wiki just to make sure I understood exactly what his powers did. So basically, he can give others a variety of thinker and tinker powers, but with the disadvantage that they become susceptible to his manipulation. As long as eventually, like, if he intensifies his power, then the powers he gives will be stronger, but at the inverse correlation that their faculties will be reduced and his control over them will be more complete. He does have to like re-up his powers. They're not permanent. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those, once he kind of touches you, it's kind of like Regent, where it's like once he's in your head, he's got you a bit easier. In addition, though, he's also able to modify existing ones. Basically, like almost creating a second trigger event, but not quite. So it's a really interesting one, because this all comes up when he's talking with Lung about like, hey, I could make you stronger. I could make it so maybe you didn't have to, get high, so to speak, like we were talking about, every time you wanted to use your power. I could make your transformation faster, right? Like all these things. But what's interesting is Lung, he just totally misunderstands Lung's goals and personality, because at the end of the chapter, Lung's just like, well, he's added to my kill list.
Like he has no idea what he just started.
Yeah.
Man, I do not like Teacher. Like power wise, it's interesting, but something about him just cool.
I mean, here's the thing. It gives off really bad vibes, because you have a person who is in a sense impersonating the role of a school teacher, which is meant to be a very trusted, reliable adult figure. But we've all heard stories about school teachers abusing kids in lots of different ways. And he just has that vibe, right? Of like maybe the school teacher who gets a little bit too close to some of the students after school, like it's like he does give big creeper vibes for sure.
I was gonna say it's like he's the most boring individual in the world, and he's also trying to like manipulate everybody, but everybody's kind of aware of it, which makes other weirdly
people more interesting.
Yeah, like which is also kind of insidious, that like it's like having a sleep paralysis demon all the time, but it's the most boring motherfucker in the world. But they're always standing in the corner where he's like, hey, I could give you that little +1 to thinker. And you're like, no, why would I take that? But, he's always ends up being in the corner of the room somehow. And he's like, have you thought about my offer? And you're like, no, why would I think about that offer? Like, it's a terrible deal. But like, by sheer him being there, it does feel like this weird inevitability that you're going to give in and you're going to be like, fine, fuck it. You know what? Why not? Let's go for a +1 one time. It's like, yes. And, and this motherfucker just keeps doing it. He got Trickster.
Yeah. Yeah, he got Trickster.
Yeah.
Trickster.
I read that sentence like 3 times. Because I was like, Trickster? Why the fuck is Trickster? Oh shit, Trickster. Like, oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Forgot about him. Not like he was that long ago, but had already forgotten.
Yeah. Also, kind of back to Lung real quick as I'm glancing over this. Like, yeah, Lung's looking at Hit and they're like, didn't that girl whoop your ass? And he's like, whoa. Hold up. And then also thinking about it, it's like, well, she killed Alexandria. So by some weird math, like you obviously could have beat Alexandria because you fought her to a standstill at the very least. Like, she totally didn't rip your balls off at one point. And then your eyeballs.
No. Although I appreciate though Lung's perspective on that, because he's kind of like, no, she beat me. She did.
No,
I'll take it.
Fair and square.
Yeah.
And interestingly,
he accepts that after she kills Alexandria.
Well, no, it seems like maybe he's even come to peace with it though, because she's not on his hit list.
Yeah.
Of like people to mess with. It's almost like he looks back at it and he's like, you know what? I was angry, but hey, I think at first it was maybe the wounded pride of getting beaten by a nobody. But now that she's like an actual villain, I think even before killing Alexandria, it's like, no, she's an actual villain. like, yeah, she got me. She got me good. Like, that was a fair fight, and she won.
He admits to her winning one of their fights, not both.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
So technically,
I'm not going to give her 2 dubs in a row.
Yeah.
I'm all,
right.
I'm all out of notes.
Any final thoughts on the arc overall? Anything we get him in now? Forever hold your peace.
I loved this arc.
Go ahead. It was a good one.
It was really good.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this arc for a long time because I really enjoy the Weaver arcs.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people don't.
I'm really excited to see what's coming next because I legitimately have absolutely no clue what's about to happen. And I want to see, well, actually, no. I remember one thing, but I don't know if it's in the next arc or in the arcs later to come. I mentioned it to Alan already. You can cut this bit out, Michael, because obviously it's a spoiler, but I
was trying to find it. I had one final parting thought that I was trying to find. There's a comment that Wildbow made a few years ago. Over the years, fans have taken issue at times with the way Taylor beats Alexandria, given that Alexandria is introduced and explains that she has essentially the perfect ability to read people, and she should have seen Taylor was about to strike. And I'm trying to find the quote by Wildbow, but I can't find it. But he talks about that. And there's a really interesting thing, and he admits he probably could have worded it a bit better. But the reason that Alexandria does not sense Taylor's emotional state is because subconsciously, Taylor releases her emotions through her bugs, not directly. So she could not read her.
Yeah, that has been shown a few times where she's been like internally processing
in this arc,
and people notice the bugs moving or doing something weird. Rather than
the whole thing with Dinah,
right? You see that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. I love that though. I wasn't aware that was something that Alexandria did as a power of like that she could read people so well. Like I knew that she could, but I didn't realize that it was like a big part of her power. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. Also get fucked, Alexandria.
Yeah.
That's what you get for being such a cocky bitch.
I'm gonna replace the fuck you just did with that squeak Nick did in the very beginning.
Perfect.
And that's how we end the episode.
wait. We can't end without
no. Favorite superpowers.
Favorite
favorite
powers.
Well, I guess there's not many new ones here.
Yeah, it's a little
what's
weak on the new
favorite
powers.
Power? I want to know.
Well, here's the thing. There's not really many new powers, right?
It doesn't have to be a new power. Just favorite power of this arc.
Yeah. I do like Daiichi. I mean, I think the idea of having a stand is cool. I think one character that I've been meaning to play in D&D someday is the Astral Monk, which gets like astral arms to punch with that are not their own. And
like
so it's
that
just
girl
kind of
in Borderlands.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Or like a stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
You know, one of the greatest anime of our time. All
right.
I do like that one. I think Teacher's power is interesting, but I'm not going to say it's my favorite. I think Daiichi is probably more interesting to me. Just the idea of like, you're vulnerable, but you make a ghost of yourself that's very strong and fast. And so you have to be careful with how you play it. Obviously, he was kind of a teenage moron and abused it wrongly, but that's life. That's me.
Nice.
I like Alexandria. We get to see her come in. I like she's got the Superman power package, but also her main ability is not the flight and super strength package. She's really fucking smart. So you've got a combination of the fact that she ages at a very slow rate. And that she got, because of advanced healing, she's super intelligent and super strong, and like it is the best package deal in terms of just a straightforward, very simple power set. But I love that her intelligence is the main one there.
Mm-hmm.
I am a lung girly myself. I really like seeing his powers more here, especially knowing the trigger event and the whole thing. My whole theory about his power and the being high thing. I think that's really interesting. And like the image of him with 4 wings coming out of his back when he's at his height of dragon during the fight with Leviathan is just like such a lovely image.
Oh yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
And I'll throw out Contessa, probably one of my favorite sort of secondary characters throughout the series. Anytime we get some Contessa moments, I'm there for it, and excited to revisit them in the future. Fun character.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that wraps it up for us here. Arc 22.
Real short episode.
Yeah. Just quick in and out arc. We'll be back. Well, next week we'll be dissecting for Arc 22, dissecting Worm. Stick around for that. And then following that, we'll be into Arc 23 as we inch closer and closer to the end of the series, which is coming just faster than I think.
How many total arcs, remind me again?
30.
30.
30?
There's 30. And we have completed 22 of them. Yep.
I will say that with the sadness that comes with knowing that we're getting closer and closer to the end of Worm is the absolute excitement I have for potentially reading Ward with this group. If we want to, if we do that,
listen. If the people are listening,
if the people want it, we will read.
Oh, I want it so bad.
If they want it, we will read. Yeah, no, that would be fun. Be a lot of fun. And special thanks as always to our patrons. Really appreciate the support we get from that.
Yes,
and
so much so.
we have a lot of fun content. We're slowly kind of figuring out little benefits and things we can give for anyone who donates. So if you've been enjoying the content and want to see more of this, more of the unedited, unhinged rants that we like to go on, and other little funny games that we've been playing and ideas for the future, we'd love your support. It means a lot to us. So thanks so much for everyone who's donated.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. Thanks, Michael. All right, well, if that's it, if no one else has any final thoughts, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks so much for listening, as always. It's been a pleasure. We love doing this, and we're going to continue here for the foreseeable future. So stick around. Michael, play us out.
Thank you so much for listening. Read along with us at parahumans.wordpress.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you love? What did you hate? Anything you think we missed, etc., as long as it's kind. If you'd like to get in touch, you can find us on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit at Brocktonbaybc, or click the link in the description.